Hi guys, so we are going to look at rounding numbers. This is the new skill for this week. You're going to be refreshing your memory on making sure that you can write expanded form, and you should be able to look at place value and be able to name place value names, and then be able to tell you a digit based on its place what its value is. So those are today's standards. Now looking at the next standard, you need to be able to round, and by the end of the week you should be able to round any number up to 1,000,000, to the millionths place. And we're going to look at, you just watched the video about rounding numbers up to the hundreds place, but we are going to go much further than that. Today what we're doing is we are going to look at just the nearest tens place, okay? So I'm going to build you incrementally up to be able to round to any number. So now, looking at that, let's take a look at this, and we're going to move through this really pretty quickly. If you're looking at this number, which is 45, that's the number that you're looking at. And it's telling you, round the number 45 to the nearest tens place. Okay? So you have to do that. You need to round this number 45 to the nearest tens place. So you look at it, and you write this down on a piece of paper, a whiteboard with a marker. It doesn't matter, but I suggest that you do that with me, because if you don't do this with me, you're not going to get this, okay? Math requires I do, you do, we do. So get out that pencil and paper right now. Pause the video if you have to. Because if I don't see you writing as I'm walking around or calling small groups, you and I will have a discussion and it won't be a happy one. So let's go. All right, so you've written down the number 45. Okay? And it's asking you here, hey, round it to the nearest tens place. So you're going to look at the number that's in the tens place. The 5 is in the ones, and the 4 is in the tens. So you are going to look at this number. This is the number you're going to look at. So please put a square around it. So then you're going to ask yourself, you need to look at the neighbor. And this is where you ask yourself, is 5, is the number that I'm looking at in the right-hand side, is this strong or weak? I always think about it as strong or weak because I can picture it better. So if it's 1, 2, 3, 4, I always think weak, weak. If you're weak, you can't help. You won't be able to do anything. All you can do is say, I'm weak, I can't help you, I gotta go away. If you are 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9, if you're any of those digits right there, you are going to be strong. And strong people can help a lot. They can push, they can pull, they can do big things. So looking at this number, looking at the 5 here, looking at this 5, you have to ask yourself, okay, if that is 5, what is it, strong or is it weak? Okay, is it strong or weak? And if you think about it, you're going to tell yourself, well, I know that this number, that 5 there, it is in the strong category, strong. So because it's strong, it's going to be able to push the 4 to make it become 5. And then it leaves. Then that 5 leaves and becomes a 0. It pushes its neighbor and says, okay, I'm all done, goodbye, I'm leaving. So it pushes 4 up, because that's the number that has to change, and then it leaves and walks away. Okay? So then, if you're looking at this, you're going to say, well, 4 is going to change, and it'll become a 5. Because the 5 is strong, it's going to push it. And then 5 leaves and becomes nothing. It goes away. So my new number then becomes 50, which is down here. And then I submit and go on about my business. But then you're like, oh, but Mrs. Nelson, if the number is weak, remember numbers 4, 3, 2, 1, those are weak. And numbers that are 5, 6, 7, 8 are strong. So let's write another number down so that you can think about this just a little bit more. Okay? So if we're going to look at another number, and I'm going to write this in a little different color here. Let's go with something like, right here. So let's look at the number. Let's write this down, okay? So we're going to look at 70 2 as a number, okay? And 72 is a good number. So we need to round it. We're going to round to the nearest 10. To the nearest 10. I misspelled that. Nearest tens. Because that's what we're working on. We're rounding to the nearest tens place. So then I'm going to look at the tens. So here's the ones and here's the tens. That's the tens. That's the number that's going to change or not. So now I look at the neighbor. I look at him and ask myself, strong or weak? Strong or weak? Okay? If it is strong or weak. So I'm looking here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, my number that I'm looking at right here is weak. Weak, weak, weak. It's weak. It can't do anything. So what it's going to tell 7 is, I can't help you. I'm just going to leave. So 7 is just left standing there. And 2 just leaves and becomes nothing. So your new number that you round to is 70. You notice that you're only ever working with numbers that will end with 0. The numbers that you change will end with zeros. So 72, because the 2 is weak, it leaves. It can't help the 7. So the 7 is just left all by itself. It didn't change. Nobody could help it move up or down. It just stands there and stays the same. Because if you look at it on a number line, if you have 72, and you have excuse me, I'm going to actually erase that and make that look a little different, because sometimes in Dreambox you see that on a number line, and then the 72 will actually look like you'll have a number line here, and then you'll have 70 here and 80 here, and then 72 is right here. So which is it closer to? 70 or 80? Which is it closer to? Ask yourself that. Oh, it's closer to the 70. You're trying to round it to the nearest 10 number that's on 10. So if you skip count by 10s, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, what number is 72 closest to? 70 or 80? Oh, it's closer to 70, not 80. It's far away from 80. If you had to walk someplace, would you rather walk closer and you're at 72 feet and you had to walk forward, would you rather just go back 2 feet, or would you want to go all the way down to 80? Probably 70, because it's closer to you. So that's what you're looking at, is you're looking to change your number, whatever your number is. 45, it's sitting right smack in the middle of 40 and 5, 40 and 50, so you just push it to the 50. Okay? Questions, concerns? Let me know. Work and practice on this. This is the new skill.